So this video series is going to go over some devotionals I'm making for a Instagram page called Jesus is Woke. And if that's what led you here, welcome to this page. This page will have a lot of different kinds of tutorials on there and a lot of other kinds of content too. But one of them is just sort of walkthroughs of how I go about making these devotionals on Instagram on the page. And that's going to be kind of in many ways an After Effects and a Photoshop tutorial in a lot of ways. But it's also just sort of raw me working in these programs as well. Okay, cool. So I'm going to open up Photoshop because I need that one. Let's see. Got my Creative Cloud here. I already have After Effects open. Let me open up Photoshop. And I can close that down. Okay, cool. It's opening up in another screen. I'll drag it over in a moment. So basically, I'm making these in kind of a square format, as you probably have seen before on Instagram. And I have this photograph I want to use. And what I want to do is I want to give it depth. So I'm going to drag it in. Obviously, the resolution of this photograph far exceeds what Instagram can handle. So let me make this smaller for a second. And that's the photograph. And what I want to do is I want to make, I want to cut out the outside piece and then sort of have the inside piece be the background part of it. So I probably could just do that with After Effects as it is using masks. But what I'd rather do is use the Photoshop tool that lets you cut out pieces of things. So this photograph's a little wider than I thought it was. Let me look at where these came from. So these were taken in Norway, and let me see. Okay, so here are the photographs that they came from. I think I might have to use this one because it has more of a narrower shape to it, but it doesn't look as good. Let me see here. I could use this for the photo. Let's see, and then for the background, I could use this photo actually. That's probably better actually. Okay, one of these guys. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So this looks like this is a better looking photograph because this one was shared on the web, and I had already brightened and made more vivid, added saturation to the colors. So I can do the same thing with this, and this can be my background. That's great. So these were taken on a train that comes up in Bergen, or I forgot what it's called. It has a funny long name, but anyway, it's kind of like a train that runs at a 45-degree angle, and what it does is it sends you up a hill kind of so that you can get a view of the city of Bergen in Norway. The only trouble there was actually we went on a very foggy day, so we didn't get as much a view as we would have liked, but it was a really fun day overall, so no complaints there. I'm going to use this one for the near plane, and then I'm going to use this other one for the far plane. Okay, fine. So I'm going to copy. I'm sort of have a folder going of what's going to be in this devotional. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. So I need this picture. Just copy this and stick it over here. I'm going to sort of rename this far. And then the near is going to be, I'm going to get rid of this for the moment, and I'm going to put the near as this one because it's narrower. And you don't have to make a separate folder with the files. I just want to keep them all together. Okay, great. And the devotional kind of concept today is just that the focus, sometimes the problem, yes, just lost this piece, that's fine, that's okay. Sometimes the problem in your Christian walk is your focus. So it's a very basic idea, nothing crazy, but I wanted to use depth, literal depth, in After Effects, in 3D depth, and just sort of show the words. Sometimes the problem is focus, and have it like a rack focus shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in as the far plane. Okay. Great. And then I'm going to do a lot of work on this later. I'm going to make it 3D, all kinds of cool stuff. But for the moment, that looks fine. That looks fine. And then for the near plane, I'm actually going to open that up in Photoshop, because what I want to do is edit it and remove, sort of add transparency to it, so that I can control. Hold on, there we go. This is Photoshop, and I'm going to drag in, where are we? Here we go, the near plane into Photoshop, and just open it up. Great. So this is usually pretty easy. I'm just going to use the magic wand thingy, which is here. Yes. I might be a little slow in Photoshop. I actually, and actually After Effects too, only because I've been using CS4 for a long time, for like since it existed, pretty much. So the new features of the new Creative Suite are a little new to me. So I'm gonna kind of be, you know, retooling what I do know to fit what's out here right now. Let's do this. Make sure that this is negative. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to use the tool to define this shape, so that I can keep just the part on the outside as the near plane. Okay. And I'm subtracting now from the selection now with this tool. It's kind of not picking up perfectly the edge there, but it is actually a ragged edge, so that's okay. And that's fine. I don't really like this bucket. That should be the background. Yeah, that's all good. Great, awesome. So now what you would do is you'd copy and paste, and you make this transparent, and boom, the background's gone. So you got a pretty good cutout there. Yeah, it really did lose that stupid hook. That's fine. We'll just lose the hook. It wasn't worth the trouble. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, just see it down here. That's fine. I'm going to save this as a TIFF with layers. And that way I get the best of all. Actually, what I can do is just save it as a Photoshop file. So let's do that. Let's do that instead. So near, we're saving as a Photoshop. We want the layers, so I guess I'll have the channels included. I'm going to save. And that's okay. I'm going to say don't show this again. Great. Cool. Now I'm going to open up After Effects. We got our background plane. We need our new near plane. So I'm going to open up this folder and see there's my new near plane. So I'm just going to drag it in. You can choose the layer. I want layer 1. Looks good. Usually what I do is I don't do it this way. Usually I will create a TIFF. So I'm trying to kind of experimenting here of what it's going to do. I want to do unmatted. I don't want it to do, let's see, multiplied. I think that's the one I want. Let's make sure. Let's put this in here and see how this is, how After Effects will interpret this. Well, it's in the background, so. Okay, that's good. Great. So that does work. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to stick this there. Zoom in here, make sure this is lined up a little better. There you go. Okay, now here's the fun part. So we make a new camera. That's all fine. Yeah, I already know this. Okay, what it's telling me is that this camera is not really doing anything until I actually make these layers 3D and turn on 3D. So I need to turn these to be 3D. Now they're 3D, and we're good. So the thing is, these are all on top of each other in one plane. What I actually want to do is make the background farther away from the camera so that there's some depth there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on 2 views here. Great. And now I can see both of my layers. The camera, this is the side view. Both of my layers are here. And now what I want to do is make one farther away. So this is the far one. I see the little blue here. I can pull it away. Oh no, that didn't work. Let's try this again. There you go. And it doesn't seem to be working. Oh, you know what? This is not the correct view over here. This should be the camera view. That's why. Okay. You know, I want to undo that because I want you to see that it looks more dramatic when you do it the right way. Okay, this is camera view. This is over here, right? We got our far plane. We go here, and there we go. Ah, it's getting smaller. There it is. It's 3D. Okay, cool. So now I can make this bigger. I can make this the far plane. I want to make it bigger, so I'm just going to go here and transform it, and I can control its scale here. And they're all linked, so I can just do this. Great. I'm going to move it over a little bit because I like the right side more because it has the flowers. Gotcha. All right, cool. Awesome. Now, for the camera, I want to control the depth of field. Point of interest, it's called. Okay. And I need to turn on sort of the depth of field, like the blur level of the depth of field. So we're going to turn it on. And focus distance is this guy. Great. Now I want the aperture to be really big so that the background's going to be really out of focus. And then when this is in focus, the foreground will be out of focus. I want it to be even more blurry. Let's just make this really, really big. Okay, cool. So now it's like way out of focus when you focus on the background, and when you focus on the foreground, it's just that this is in focus. That's probably too blurry. Let's make that less blurry. Okay. Something like that should be effective. So the depth of field is going to be here, and then it's going to be there. Okay, cool. That's what we want. Now I do want this to be a different shape, I think. I feel like it takes up so much of the frame. Let's make it a different shape. Hold on. So what I want to do is make the near plane like kind of bigger. I think. Let's try that. Move it over a little bit. Center the arch. Move it up a lot. That's more like it. Okay, that's better composition. Okay. So now I need to insert my letters. My letters! I need to insert my text. And I might change the text as I do this, you know, as I sort of decide what I want to say. But what I think I want to say is literally sometimes the problem is focus. And I want those to be 3 separate pieces of text. So one would be, not solid, sorry. One would be sometimes. And I'm going to go over to my paragraph section and center it. And then I'm going to go to my character section, and Arial kind of looks good, but let's play around with it and see whether we find a better font. This can be time consuming, picking the perfect font. I actually have to select the text for that to work. Let's play around with it. That looks kind of tasteful. That looks good because I feel like as it goes out of focus, you won't see it, which is what I want. Ooh. Okay, let's do this one. Century Gothic. And we'll make it black. And we'll make the first bit of text first of all, we'll make it 3D, and we'll move it to be really close, like closer than the other thing is. And we'll move it down. Yes. Because I want the text to be sometimes the problem, and then focuses over here. And that's going to go along with the verse that says that set your mind on things above, which is what the verse will be for today. Okay. Ooh, sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to play around with this focal point for a second and make sure this is working the way I want. So first it's going to be this one. Cool. Okay, let's make sometimes a little smaller. Make the font a little smaller maybe. That should work. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. And then the location, I want it to be right in the center. So I think 360 is center, because this is, let's see, 720 by 720. So 350 would be half. Yeah, so that's correct. 360 should be the center of that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that is a confirmation that it is in fact centered. I'm going to copy the text to save myself some work. And I'm going to make this new text say, hold on, let me move it up first. And I'm going to make the new text say, the problem. And this will be farther away. This will be on the same plane as the actual archway, I think. That is fine. That's auto-saving. Thank you. Thank you, After Effects, for thinking ahead. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this again. And this one will be farther away still. Above more. And that will say, actually, I'm going to change the, let's see here. I'm going to move the focal distance as I do this. Sometimes the problem, oh geez, okay, that's embarrassing. The problem. Yikes, okay. Spelling was never my strong suit, my apologies. And then it's going to be is focus. Sometimes the problem is the problem. That's today's message. Is focus. I could make is separate too. Let's just make this focus. Let's just make it focus. Okay. And this one will be the problem is, because I don't want to say is focus as the last thing. Okay, I'm going to stop driving myself crazy. So let me just actually animate this. Okay. So that's going to be the first section. Let's just, if I click here, it starts to animate. I want this to be, I think 15 seconds is appropriate. Let's make the animation 10 seconds, and then the last 15 will reduce the blur so that people can read the whole statement. I think that's what I'll do. So I'll make this 10, and I will set the final focal distance, which will be lined up with the background. Okay. So now I should be able to see a nice, sometimes the problem, nice little animation there. I can start editing this text. Just, okay. Great. Okay. And I think I should lower focus down or make it bigger or something because it looks weird. let's do that. So focus, where are you? Here. Let's make you your font a little bit. Move you down a little bit. Okay. So the problem is focus. Sometimes the problem is focus. Let me just see if it lets me play it without crashing here. So I'm kind of like quickly rendering a piece of this by playing it just so I can see. It's crawling right now, but once this green line gets filled out a little more, I can actually go back and play it at normal speed. It's kind of sticking this on memory right now. And from there I should be able to see whether the speed is right, which is one of the biggest challenges with this kind of animation, to make sure that it feels right. Okay. Good. I think that's enough for me to get a sense of the timing. Let me go back. Sometimes problem. Okay. It needs to be faster. That's what I suspected. Okay, so we'll look for our keyframes. We'll make it, let's do 7 seconds is the actual duration of the effect. Put that here. I feel like I want to make this a 24 frame per second one to make it feel more filmish. Sorry, now and again, I'll open up a menu and it will show up on the wrong window and I'll have to drag it over here. So my apologies if that's confusing. Let's make this 24. Or no, we'll do 23.976, which is the typical. Okay. Yeah, 23.976, yeah. Okay, cool. And now at 7, so this should. And now, what I can do now, let me bring this to the end. We'll make our aperture locked, and then at the, or we'll rather keyframe it, and then going on to 15, we'll make this 15 seconds long. It does not have to be 20 at all. I actually want to reset. Okay, fine. So at 15 mark, we'll reduce the aperture so that more of it is visible. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to have it end with the first keyframe so that it will be basically the looping animation, which I typically don't do, but I feel that'd be kind of cool in this particular case. So this will be copy 2, paste that over here, put that at the end. So it's going through. Cool, so it's playing around with focus. I'm gonna render that and see what it looks like. Before I do, I wanna play around with some of the colors. I don't really like the way this picture was exposed. It was kind of an overcast day, and white balance wise, the camera is all messed up. You can see blue here, but then it looks kind of not pleasant. And then that's white. I don't know, I kind of wanna adjust a bit. So let's look at some options. Under image, I believe it's called, or channel. Where are we? What I want to do, let me go over here. I'm going to go to After Effects presets. I want to do saturation. There's a great hue saturation. There we go. Okay, with this one, I should be able to set the standard of what I want. So up the saturation. Not too much. Maybe make this a little brighter. Not too bright. That's good. And a little warmer. Can I do that? Will that be a problem? That looks a little weird. Let's leave that alone. Maybe is there like a warmth filter? No. What would do that? I feel like this is meant for that purpose. Because I want it to look a little redder, I guess. But not so strong. Okay. Let me look at colors. Once again, I'm used to CS4, so there's a few color balance, color stabilize, Colorama is awesome filter, but we don't use that today. Color balance, let's play with that a little bit. I think that, oh, there we go. This is better. Now I can kind of control a little bit more of the reds. Yes. I want it to look a little bit just on the warm side. And then this will be made much warmer because it's very, very blue. Okay, cool. So these are my filters for now. I'm going to copy these and go here and paste them. And this needs to be made more red, actually, because of the way it had been done. So let me make the shadow looks red. No, let's do this one instead. Okay, maybe down the saturation, actually. Maybe that looks good. So we got rid of that blue tint I didn't like. We got our background is all full of saturation, looking good, looking nice. Okay. Now I'd like to add like film grain as another effect, if that's something that I can do without this making this look ugly. So I'm going to add an adjustment layer. And let's look up like film. What about grain? Add grain. Let's try that. So let's see. Are there any presets that are easy to work with? Let's try one of these Kodak. What is that really doing? So it's adding, ugh, I don't know if I like that actually. Let's try one of these. Let's do. It's kind of cool. It's a little bit exaggerated. I don't want that much grain. Let's try to reduce the intensity of it a bit. Flicker. Is there like a flicker? Not really. I can give that more thought next time. Okay. That looks pretty cool. I think I like that. We don't really need a lens flare or anything, but we could add one if we want to have that be kind of in the background a little bit. But I feel like that could alter the focus. Or no, be like something we should think about for focus. So let's leave that alone for now. I'm going to try rendering this and see how much I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to go back. Project. Click here and then add to Media Encoder. Media Encoder should open up. And then I can render this out with a preset that I made for Instagram output and see where we stand. All right, I'm back. I rendered it. Here's the file. I think it's almost right. I need to linger a little more on the first word, I think. So when I play it, you can see it immediately goes out of focus. And I think I want to actually have the word sometimes on there longer, else the reader may not know what on earth this is actually saying. The grain looks good though, and the blur looks good. The background is pretty. So I think this is, we're onto something here. So let me adjust this again. Let me open up After Effects. And what I'm going to do is for the camera, I'm going to go to, where's the keyframe? Focus distance. And I'm going to copy this keyframe, have it be that keyframe. Oops, what happened there? I only want this keyframe, not all of them, just this one. There you go. Copy and paste. Okay. So now it's just going to be sometimes for like just a second, and then it says the problem. And actually, maybe I should linger there too. Maybe that's a good idea. Let's try that. So I'm going to have that be the problem, and then copy that keyframe, have it last just a little bit of time. Sometimes problem is, and then focus. And it stays maybe there is where it stops. Let's do that. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm saying it's lingering on each word. It's not always in transition, and that way the reader is actually spending time with each of the words and not just always looking at a blur. So sometimes the problem is focus, and then everything goes into focus, and then just sometimes is in focus. Okay, I think that's an improvement. And I'm going to render this and upload it, and there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and please come back for the next one.